I just want to say welcome to everybody listening in, and a big heartfelt thank you for Jack for getting real with us tonight, for volunteering. I did a Periscope last week about the stress of infidelity based on a session that I had of overview, and it all of a sudden must have struck a nerve because it just kept sharing and viral. And Jack here messaged me privately and said that he was going through a tough time, had a chat with him, and very compelling story. And my heart went out. I said, how would you like, clearly this is striking a nerve with people. And you're not the only one going through this. As you know, there's many people going through it. So a little bit about myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Dr.Nima Ramani, and I've been a chiropractor for the past 15 years. And noting that the reason why people come to see me are stress-related disorders, and working on people structurally not able to get to the deeper issues of what brought people there. That frustration, blended with my own journey through personal development, led me to study the work of perceptual healing, the power of our thoughts, the power of beliefs, and changing our perceptions to be able to level up in our healing, in our fulfillment, in our achievement. And I found it so fascinating that it started to get boring for me to work on back and neck issues. I wanted to really delve deeper into true healing. So I found that patients would come to me with their stories, like in Jack's case, with real chronic illnesses, and they weren't getting full healing because the medical system wasn't giving it to them. So I wanted to offer something more, and it's been my dream to do that. And believe me, it hasn't been an easy road. However, it's been extremely rewarding. So today we're talking about the stress of infidelity. And I wanted to start off, Jack, by telling you to kind of just letting you know to set an intent, that we're setting an intention today. My intention isn't to save your marriage or to tell you to leave. My intention is simply to help you gain insights to heal the relationship that we know for certain that you'll be with for the rest of your life. And that's the relationship with yourself. And so that regardless, you are moving on a path, on a journey to expanding yourself so that you can be a better human being in all areas of your life. Because we can all improve on something and some areas, and often the struggles that we go through call us to level up into these things. So thank you for being here. And for those of you who are paying attention, we're talking about a very hot topic. I wanted to say, we're talking about a very heavily triggered subject. So I want everybody on Blab or on the replay on YouTube or on the podcasts that are listening to understand that I'm not here to justify cheating, and I'm not here to say that it's right. I'm not here to say that it's wrong. I'm not. The stance that I take on it is that cheating, or a lot of different things, like things that are negative in our lives that we're trying to get rid of, if we judge it as a negative thing and we point a finger and we say it's a bad thing, it's kind of like fire. And if I'm a firefighter and I want to put out fires, I don't make fire wrong. What I do is I look at the environment of what creates fire, what environmental conditions make it most viable for fire to exist. So by studying that, why fire should happen in certain environments, I have more consciousness moving forward to change things. And the overview method is a simple series of questions with some art, to it. There's some intuitive type of parts to it, which doesn't justify behavior because it's not justifying future events. What it does is that the future hasn't been written yet, but the past already has. And if there's been a fire, it's wise for us to look from the past and see why that fire should have happened at that time. And with that understanding and awareness, we empower Jack to move forward, make more conscious decisions, level himself up so that he can create harmony in his marriage or a higher, better version of himself by himself. So that's really our goal. Does that make sense, Jack?
Absolutely.
All right. How are you feeling?
I'm not nervous, of course.
Perfect. So I'd love for you to start off by reading your shitty first draft for us,
Okay.
and we'll get right into it.
Okay. So to make my shitty first draft about my life and some of the trouble I'm going through right now, I will start by saying that I've been with my wife for 16 years, married for 10. She has had a son from her first marriage, whom I helped raise since he was 2. He's almost 18 now, and we also have a 9-year-old son. I love my wife, but I've been unfaithful at times throughout our relationship. She recently has been acting different and distant. I felt she was doing everything she could not to be around me. Instead of asking what was going on with her, I just blew up and told her that she should act like a mom, since avoiding me also meant she was avoiding our son. After the fight, in which I found an incredible amount of text to a number and then found out it was a male coworker of hers, I got very upset. I wanted to know what was going on and was accusing her of cheating on me. This went on for a couple of weeks, and she was denying it, but said she might as well if she's going to be accused. All of this time, she has been cold and distant, and I was trying to make up with her. I was not getting the attention I needed from her and attempted to hurt myself on 3 separate occasions. One was 30 blood pressure pills, one was sleeping pills, and one was parking my truck in the garage and running it for almost an hour. I didn't get the attention I wanted. After accusing her, she wouldn't change her sneaky behavior. It was what I used to do when I cheated on her. I finally found the evidence, and she admitted that she has fucked him once. The Facebook messages hurt me more than the actual act itself. She talked about wanting to be with him. She gets easily attached, and that him saying he was her man. After a night-long argument and talking, I was still begging her to stay with me, making me feel like a pussy. She revealed to me that she knows about a mutual friend that I had slept with before we were married, and said she cannot let go of my most recent mistakes. We moved away about a year ago to leave all of that behind, and I felt if I just didn't screw up, everything would be fine. Now my world is more shattered than ever. I went 2 weeks without eating, can't sleep more than 4 hours a night. Excuse me. The emotions of the past few weeks have been unbearable. I go from not knowing why my wife has become distant, to imagining her with the other guy, to wanting to grab her and tell her how much I love her, to feeling ashamed for my past indiscretions, being pissed that I feel responsible for damaging her self-esteem so low that she would do what she did, the first and only time she's done this in 16 years. I feel the guilt of hurting her on multiple occasions. I never wanted to hurt someone I love so much. The pain of giving her space and not being able to talk to her any chance I can. And she said she has needs her space, so I can't control her like I think she thinks I do. I blew this off because I certainly don't feel I do. Thinking about what she said, if that's the way she feels, it's true to her, so it matters. The emotion goes from being pissed, I want to hurt this other guy physically, to sad that I have made our relationship work better after my failures, not owning up to my mistakes and just sweeping them under the rug, trying to forget and move on, not improving myself to make sure that I never hurt her again. Even though she has still moved out, things seem to be getting better. I don't feel the coldest as much as we talk and when we do see each other. She is now doing the little things sometimes that I miss so much, like an unsolicited hug, her texting me to see how my day is going, watching our favorite TV show, and even making love after, as long as I wouldn't read too much into it, she says. Which I didn't, but of course it was wonderful. I probably could not confront my issues and still have a chance with her. Chance with her coming back. But I realized that if she comes back to me and I don't work on improving myself, something like this is bound to happen again, and hurting her is the last thing in the world I want to do. It's easy to say and mean it, but without change or introspective to why, just saying it would not be the solution.
Thank you so much, Chad. Jack, it was that was beautiful, very heartfelt, very real. How'd that feel?
Difficult. A lot harder reading it now.
Yeah.
In front of people.
Absolutely. So it's just you and me, brother. Okay. The overview method basically is an exploration in your beliefs. because events happen in our lives, and it's not the events that stress us out and cause us to want to kill ourselves. It's the stories we make about them, isn't it? So today we're going to examine the stories. I'm going to walk you through this process, and my job is to get you to see the magnificence in this, is to get you to open your heart and to see. First of all, I heard a lot of guilt in your shitty first draft, and my opinion here, just my gut instinct, my intuition is telling me, is kind of leading me into exploring the guilt a little bit. And so I think that the guilt has a big part of it, is what's bringing this on. And once we clear that guilt, the resentment is going to change. Okay?
Okay.
So let's go into your values a little bit. I've talked to you a little bit, just a preliminary chat. Whenever I talk to people, I want to know what their values are. I know for a fact that your family is a very high value for you. You moved from Michigan to Florida after your last little incident last year when you were caught cheating, and you moved there to be more supportive of your wife and son.
Yep.
Okay.
To be with her.
To be with her, right? So your son, your family bond and connection is a very high value, clearly, because you left a big job there, didn't you? And
yep.
Tell me what else is a high value for you. So you got family, and what else did we have as far as your work?
I don't know. I was executive sous chef, powerful, money,
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Challenging.
So you had a challenging, and right now the job isn't as challenging, is it?
No.
Okay.
Not even close.
Perfect. So that has been a high value for you. Hey, your career has been a high value for you, but it's shifted down a little bit. It's kind of come down, right? So career has become is value, but family is a little bit higher, and then career is down here.
Yeah,
so career
absolutely.
As a chef. So cooking is a good one. So is that your form of creativity? Tell me a little bit about that. What do you love about cooking and being
the behind the scenes of nobody knows how you cook for 300 or 500 people. They have no clue. And to make that work is like an orchestra. It's awesome.
Okay, so you like the orchestration of it.
Absolutely.
So you feel that you are at your best self when you're orchestrating this kind of
huge functions. Yeah.
Okay, orchestration of food delivery.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Timing, ordering, everything.
Orchestration, prepping, and timing. So those are big things. That's one of your areas of genius. Would you say that that's what's your superpower in all of that?
Getting it done, no matter what it takes. Just from the planning of it to the execution to making sure every little step is right on, perfect. You have enough food. You have enough staff. You have enough dishwashers. You have enough plates. You have enough silverware.
So this is the area of your leadership is food restaurant management of large functions.
Yep.
Okay.
Say I'm pretty good at it.
Pardon me?
I'd say I'm pretty good at it.
Okay. And what are you the best at? Don't be humble. Don't be humble.
I'm not. I'm not humble. But yeah. I mean, I would say that would be my biggest attribute. That there's different forms of the cooking in the industry. You can be on the line, or you can be, I specialize in banquets.
So you're basically the overseer of all of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What would you most love to be acknowledged for? Don't be humble. Don't just be
just the great food. I mean, really, honestly, people have to come to my place or this place because of me. Something of that nature.
So the quality of your cooking.
Yeah.
Quality. Okay. Of cooking. So that is where your superpower is. Now, here's the thing I got to tell you. This is a little secret of life that very few people understand. Number one, most people are not aware of what their values are. Okay? Most people are unaware or too humble to admit what their superpowers are. And then the next thing about that is most people not only are unaware, but even if they are aware, they don't give themselves permission to do those superpowers, to put those superpowers to use.
Chefs are different.
Pardon me, say that again?
Chefs are different. They don't have a problem being humble or not being humble.
Right. However, when we don't put ourselves in that arena, Jack, we start to die a slow death. Okay? When we have a value system, but we don't live according to that, or we're not living it to its potential, or expanding it, or building it, what ends up happening is we start to deteriorate. Our self-esteem starts to go down. And that, my friend, affects our relationships.
Yeah.
Okay? So I just want to put that out there. And so family and your leadership is in the chef and the orchestration of that. So is there anything else that you have as a form of your creativity or highest values like that?
No, just I mean, part of the family. I mean, just having fun with my son. I mean, really, perfect. I know that's part of the family issue, but yeah.
Perfect. Great. Fantastic. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right now. As you read your shitty first draft, you were very open and forthright with your emotions about what's happening. So you said shame and guilt. That just stood out. I was like, ooh, it came right up. Okay. So the shame and the guilt is a big one in as far as the feelings go. But can you just give me a little snippet? If I were to wave a magic wand in this scenario, what should be different? Now, let me give you an example. Okay? I'll put that idea in your head for a moment, but let's go back and let me explain to you. The only reason why you're stressed right now and you're feeling this way is because there's a reality happening and you're comparing it to a fantasy of what you think that it should be. In other words, you can't have stress without a should, without a projection of your reality onto what you think it should be. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if we could go and make some notes and be honest, clearly, let's go into some of the shoulds in this scenario.
Okay. And she should be with me.
She should be with you.
She shouldn't have cheated on me.
She should be with me. Okay? I'm writing some of this down. She shouldn't have cheated on me. And this is great because I can see you probably watched last week's episode. You were so nervous. So you're like, what's up? What am I in for? What did I sign up for? So you probably went on YouTube and you were researching it. So you made some notes, which is great. You're making my job a little bit easier. I appreciate that. Go ahead.
Well, another one is I should have done more with her.
I should have done more with her. Good one. More with her. Okay. How about your guilt for your past?
I obviously shouldn't have done it.
I shouldn't have cheated.
Never.
I should have never cheated. Okay. All right. I'm just writing all of these down because we're going to go back to them. She should be with me right now. She shouldn't have done that at the time. I should have done more with her, and I should have never cheated.
Yeah.
So if we were to wave a magic wand and those conditions, those beliefs became true, Jack would be a happy man.
Wouldn't need to be here.
I wouldn't need to be here. Everything's perfect. We'd be good, right? Okay, I got you. All right. So as a result of that, let's go through some of the feelings that you're feeling. So shame and guilt is the one because of your cheating. What else?
Absolutely. Wanting to be with her, wanting to talk to her, wondering where she is, but promising not to worry.
Okay.
You know?
So what's that making you feel?
Obviously sad. I can't just pick up the phone and text her and call her and I'm trying to do what she wants.
So we got the shame, we got the guilt, we got the sadness. How about jealousy?
Get into the guy. I could be pissed too.
Okay, yes. Anger and jealousy. Good. Anger and jealousy. Perfect. So I think that if I were to say shame, guilt, sadness, anger, jealousy, can you see why one of these feelings over another will create this anxiety, will create depression? Whenever I have done work on people who have been diagnosed with these conditions, I've observed that it's not the condition, it's actually unresolved shame, guilt, inadequacy, that kind of thing. So what else? Anything else?
About
How about let's
feelings?
look a little bit deeper. Let's look a little bit deeper as far as feelings go. Let's look deeper. Is there a feeling of rejection? Is there a feeling of betrayal? Let's look at the deeper stuff.
Yeah, obviously there's betrayal.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's betrayal because she did it or did I drive her to that.
Okay.
So whatever. Yeah.
Okay. There's definitely a feeling of betrayal.
Right.
And
of course, if she doesn't want to be with me, and I don't know this, I don't know if she said she wants her space for herself, but I don't know since I can't talk to her as much. I don't know if she wants to be with this other guy.
Okay.
I don't.
So you feel rejection then?
The rejection of I don't know. I don't know.
Perfect. I think that's good. Now let's interpret that. So the only reason why stress happens is because you have all of these emotions simply because you're taking what she did and you're making an interpretation of it. So I want you to finish this sentence, okay? She cheated on me because I am...
I've been unworthy. I don't know.
That's a good one. You do know that. Just be real with your feelings. So I am unworthy of love.
Of her, obviously her love.
Of her love. Yes, that's why that hurts so much. I want you to sit with that one for a moment and feel that and own that, because that's what this has all come down to.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened is she did an event. There was an event that took place. You turn around and you make it about you, that you are unworthy of love.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question that I have for you. Do you remember when you cheated on her? Did you cheat on her because she was unworthy of your love?
No.
Okay. Just put that one on ice. We're gonna go there for a little bit. Okay. So I'm unworthy of love. And how about I'm not good enough?
Yeah.
I'm inadequate. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the overview method basically is a step-by-step process of dissecting everything that's happened. Okay. So what we're going to do is ask you this question. When you feel shame, guilt, sadness, betrayal, that unworthy of love feeling, it's all of this mishmash of emotions. What is it that you do when you feel those ways?
Shut down and cry. It just depends on how where I'm at. Well, actually,
what have you done? You've shut down, you've cried. What else? You've attempted.
Gotten pissed. I've driven away. Gotten pissed. I've wanted attention. I did things.
Seeking approval.
Attention. I mean, honestly. Yeah.
So can you see that those behaviors are based on the beliefs, based on the feelings of shame, guilt, sadness, unworthiness, all because of the beliefs? She should still be with me. She shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have never cheated. Once we remove those beliefs and we dissect them, the behavior starts to change. But let's go back to the guilt. I think that the guilt is the biggest out of all of these feelings. What would you say is the biggest, most charged button about the whole thing?
Guilt of what I've done.
Can you see that the guilt is your main prison right now?
Yeah, I mean,
of course there's sadness.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's my main prison, if you will. You get stuff popping in your head of, excuse me. I don't want to lose her, And then, I'd only be able to get to see my son half the time, stuff like that.
Right.
And when that gets in your head, there ain't nothing coming back.
Through the roof, right? Okay,
Yep.
so let's do this. Let's do this, Jack. I want you to go back to your earlier memory of guilt, when that guilt was just through the roof. We don't have to worry about reject. We can worry about the rejection at a different time. Right now, I'm feeling intuitively that we need to really go.
The guilt, one previous indiscretion before we were married, had to found out about it, and she found out about it. That was more of just a drunken thing. She caught me, and then she had my mom come down and talk too. So you get, your future wife and your mom together saying, who's this little slut and how dare you and stuff like that. You're definitely going to feel a little bit of guilt and a lot of guilt.
Okay, that was a big one, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so let's do this. I want you to go back to that scene, and let's look at how old were you at the time?
Oh, shoot. Let's see.
Before you were married?
Between 25 and 30.
So 25 years old. So we're going to go to a scene around, we'll say, the 25-year-old pre-marriage guilt, where you got caught. Okay? Yeah. So that scene. Here's what we're going to do. All right. So I want you to go back to that and tell me, what are the fantasies about that scene? Obviously, I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
And it's not just because you get caught either.
No.
And you think about it and you don't know why.
Right. The whole process that we're about to go through right now is we're going to discover exactly why. Because if you don't know why, would you not agree that if you don't know why, you're more likely to repeat it?
Yep.
Would you love to know why?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if we're going to go there, you're going to have to drop the judgment of it now. Okay? So it's like we're studying fire now. You're a firefighter, and you're going to go in clinically with no judgment. You're going to go in there, and I'm going to explain this concept of duality to you. And the concept of duality basically is, I learned from my mentor, Dr. John DeMartini, that everything is in a universal law has a positive and a negative. And in our receptors in our body, when you experience one side of a perception in our vision, you have the exact opposite happening. Okay, there's an on or off switch, for example, in our vision. So if there is, because of the nature of the cones of in our cells, the receptors in our cells, in our visual field, there has to be an on and an off switch, and they happen simultaneously in our perceptions. And that principle follows through in every perception in our body, including guilt, shame, happiness, sadness. In other words, what I learned is that you're not able to experience one negative feeling without simultaneously feeling the opposite. But the difference is that the negative feeling that you're feeling at the time is conscious. The positive feeling during those traumatic events become unconscious. Okay? What we're going to do right now is go where you haven't gone before, because you've been holding on to this guilt for all this time. Were you also overweight at that time too?
Yeah, I've been pretty much overweight my whole life.
Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, because we talked about this earlier, and curiosity got the better of me. So, all right. So let's go back to that 25-year-old version of you that got caught. And I want you to go back to that scene. And this is the part of the overview that is the active meditation component, where you're actually sitting there and we're going to get you to feel. Okay? This is tough for most guys because we're taught not to feel anything. But right now, I'm going to hold a safe space for you to feel all negative emotions. Okay? So I want you to go back to that scene where you and your mom and your wife were sitting there, facing the music.
Yep.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go back there, Jack, and I want you to go into that scene. You can even close your eyes and go and sit there for a moment. And I want you to bring up a negative emotion that comes up in that moment.
Just shame.
Shame. Bring up that
shame.
Okay. Bring up that shame, and I want you to feel it now. It's going to be uncomfortable. If you got to cry, you got to cry. This is what we do. It's all good. It's a healthy thing for you to let it out. So bring up that feeling of shame in your body, and I want you to tell me where you're feeling it now.
Throat.
Good. That's exactly where you should be feeling it. Feel that shame in your throat and sit there in that scene and just be there. Just close your eyes and just be there. Now, simultaneously, what's the opposite of shame to you?
Proud. Being proud.
Pride. Yeah. So here's the weird part. You got to drop the judgment. I want you to go back to that moment and tell me what was causing you to feel pride. Do not judge where it's coming from, only that it had existed.
I don't see the pride in it.
Okay,
I don't.
now, I need you to tell the truth here.
I'm trying.
I understand. Now, was there a little bit of pride that they were, could you see that there was a little bit of pride that they were fighting hard for the relationship?
Yeah. Pride of my mom. My mom doing what she always does.
Tell me.
Takes charge.
I want you to
tells me how it is.
Good.
How friggin' wrong I was.
Bring up that. Did that make you feel pride at that moment that she stood up for your highest good?
You know, that I raised you better than this. What the hell are you thinking? You know, that kind of stuff.
Did that make you feel proud in that moment?
Well, not when she's yelling at me, but yeah, I mean, my mom's pride, of course.
Can you go back there? And in that moment, Jack, I want you to bring up that feeling of pride where mom was giving you a talking to. You know she was doing it for your best interest, didn't you? Mm-hmm. I want you to feel that pride. Let that in. You're doing freaking awesome, dude. That's exactly it. See, it's tough to find where at first you're like, there isn't there. But just look, don't judge it. Tell me more about how proud she was making you feel.
Well, you know, mom always made everything right, you know.
Did that make you feel proud that she was standing up for you?
Yep, she was going to do what needed to be done to make sure things were right.
Feel that pride. Way to attaboy, bro. Attaboy, brother. Feel that pride in that moment. Did it also make you feel proud that it was mom coming down on you and not her? Tell the truth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not pride, but I mean, yeah.
Happiness. Can you see the happiness in that moment?
It was
mom.
My wife knew what to do. You know, she knew.
She knew. Could you see in that moment the happiness? Tell the truth. That it was your mom you knew loved you unconditionally was the one kicking your ass rather than your wife.
Right. Yeah.
Bring that feeling of joy in there in that moment. It was there. You were glad that was happening, weren't you?
It's still a shame, but yeah.
Yes, of course there was shame. But I want you to bring in that pride in that moment.
Yeah.
Also, can you see that the pride in the fact that your wife was so hurt that she was delegating it, that she truly wanted to be with you?
Yeah, she knew. She still knows.
Yes, but the fact that she went and got your mom.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see that there's a pride there that she actually was? Because if she truly wanted to leave,
she could have walked out.
She could have walked out. But can you see the pride there in that moment of her calling on your mom instead of being the one to come down hard on you?
Yeah, I can see that.
I want you to feel that. Now, I want you to also bring up the guilt feeling. Bring up that feeling of guilt.
Okay.
Sit with that one for a moment. Let that in. Where do you feel that, Jack?
Actually, I feel it on my arms.
All right. Sit with it for a moment. Let that in. What's the opposite of guilt to you?
Let's see. Openness. Trying to think of the word.
Openness is good. Innocence and openness.
Yeah. Truthfulness.
Truthfulness. Good. Opposite to you in that scene, what would it be? Truthfulness and openness. Good.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what was causing you to feel truthful and open in that moment?
Again, it's hard because I always see the negatives. Honestly, what happened? I don't see any truthful or.
Look carefully. Did you tell the truth? Did you come clean?
Yeah.
Could you see that it was a burden that was lifted off when you opened up?
Yeah. I mean, the guilt just doesn't go away. I mean, it doesn't go away. That stays with you. So, I mean, I know you're trying to change the perception.
No. Just answer the question. That's all I want you to do. I know you want to keep going back to your fucking story. That's normal. I know, that's normal because you've been holding on to it for like 20 some odd years, right? All I'm asking you to do is to drop the story for a moment and look there with curiosity, without any judgment. The key is to drop the judgment. Go back in that scene and tell me what was causing you to feel openness. Did you get real in front of those two?
Did
you get real and vulnerable? Were they just seeing the entire thing right in front of? See, the negative feelings were there. They were there, but that's one side of the scale. But your tunnel vision is that it was only negative. I get that. What I'm trying to
I think I got open and honest for you.
Tell me.
I was relieved that it was over, like the affair was over.
Bring up
that I didn't have to worry about that anymore.
That you didn't say that again.
I didn't have to worry about trying to see somebody else or trying to hide it or
say that again.
Anything like that. I didn't want to hide it. I did it, but I didn't want to. I didn't feel like I should have to sneak around. So once that was over, I felt relief that it was over.
Could you see the openness in that moment?
Yeah.
Feel it. I want you to breathe that in and feel it. Feel it, don't you?
I do.
It was there the whole fucking time. Feel that openness. Describe it to me. It was a relief, was it? It was a weight lifted off. You didn't have to live goddamn lie anymore, did you?
It was a relief. Yep.
Feel that relief, Jack. Breathe it into your body because you have a one-sided view you've been telling all these years, but there was the other side. I freaking guarantee you, it's time for you to just open your eyes to the other side that was there.
Yep, I didn't have to worry about it anymore.
Say that again.
I didn't have to worry about it anymore. Didn't have to try to hide anything.
Can you see that there was just as much of a relief and gladness and an openness and a pride in that you didn't have to do that?
Yeah, that maybe. Yeah, it was a big relief, actually.
Can you see that that was a turning point and it got you guys closer together after a period of time?
Yeah, it certainly was.
What was the benefit of that scene happening?
Hopefully setting us on a better path and a path being together.
Can you see that that gave you more certainty afterwards about her? Mm-hmm. Sit with that one for a moment.
She's a tough girl.
Sit with that one for a moment. Can you see before getting married, there's a lot of uncertainty in a man's mind, especially at 25?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can you
absolutely
what you were doing to try to compensate or cope with that uncertainty? What were you doing? You were
going out,
trying different stuff on.
Yeah. Yep. Going out. Not sure if I wanted to get married but
thinking that you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking I should get married, but because that's what society wants from me.
Mm-hmm.
I know the fucking feeling.
and
I've been there.
There wasn't doubt that she was the one. It was just me just not doing it.
But what gave you the absolute certainty?
She got pregnant.
No. Let's come back before that.
Yeah. The certainty.
Wait. Were you pregnant? Was she pregnant when you went around?
No.
Okay.
No.
Can you see that you cheating and then getting caught and seeing her reaction? How did that serve in your certainty with your family?
She would be pissed at me and still be with me.
Sit with that one for a moment. What did that tell you?
She's strong. Strong girl.
Did that make you more certain or less certain about her?
Way more.
And had you not cheated and got caught, what would be the drawback to your certainty about her?
I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known.
And then what would be the drawback to her, to your family, to your son?
He wouldn't have been here.
Sit with that one for a moment. Can you see that your actions and inactions gave you certainty of who to marry and start a family with? What was the benefit to her that you cheated and got caught?
That I didn't say, screw you, I want to be with somebody else. My guilt, my sorriness,
Did your guilt bring her up level, and did you put her on a pedestal for a while after that?
Of course.
What was the benefit to her about that?
She got to be on the pedestal where I'm not very good at putting her on a pedestal all the time.
Can you see that shifted the power dynamic?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your job situation at the time? And her job situation at the time?
That time I was actually executive chef of a nice resort. And she was a front desk attendant at that resort.
And how did what happened serve her and you in your careers?
We got out of that resort. We left that resort.
And then went where?
About 30 miles away to another resort where I actually had learned probably more than I ever have in any other job.
If you didn't cheat and get caught, what would be the drawback to that transition?
I would have stayed there and wouldn't have known probably half the knowledge I know now.
Sit with that one for a moment. Why did you guys move after that?
We moved closer to that. Well, I moved from that job and then got another job about 30 miles past that. So I was driving 60 miles a day to work. So there and back. So I lost 2 hours a day. And then being the executive sous chef, you'd work 12, 14 hours a day. So I really never seen Wyatt. So we decided that, we should move. And my house that I had bought was falling apart and whatnot. So we decided to leave that.
And go to that new job.
And go to the new job and get an extra hour at home. And a lot less gas money, tell you that.
With that one from us. So it saved you financially. It got you a better job. It got you more time with your family. Mm-hmm. And it got her up on a pedestal and made you realize what an incredible person she is and made you really see the value in her. Mm-hmm. If you hadn't done all of that, what would be the drawback to her?
I would just keep treating her just normal. There'd be no ebb and flow and down and up, and it would just be stagnant.
Did you guys both level up in your careers as a result of that?
We did.
Question: would you have married her if it wasn't for that entire scenario that happened with your mom in that scene?
I don't know. I would think I would have. Yes. I would have.
Okay. Did you have certainty going into the marriage?
Yeah, I did.
If you hadn't done that and got caught and seen how she responded.
Right. That certainly would have been uncertain at that time. Yeah. No, it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't that I thought I could just do it and get away with it and she'd always be there. That wasn't entering my mind. But that's not why I did it.
No. We're not talking about
Yeah.
intentions. I'm just trying to get you to look at it from a different perspective. The goal
I wouldn't have gotten to where I was without it.
And how about her? Let's look at her. Let's completely look at her. My lighting is a little bit weird right now, so I'm just going to see what I can do here. Hopefully it's a little bit better. Okay. Not much. There we go.
No.
Okay. So what's the benefit to her? Let's look at the benefits to her. What did it force her to do and force you guys to do together that you were unconscious of before?
Of which time when we moved?
No. That scene.
The first scene. Let's see. Benefit to her. Like I said, knowing that I didn't have an inclination of, hey, I want to be with somebody else. I don't. It was a mistake. I don't. I could have.
Did she get to see how 1,000% certain you were?
I hope so.
Going into the marriage?
Yeah, I hope so.
Tell me what happened to the power dynamic a little bit more. Describe that.
Born and raised, my mom was a housewife. I wish I would make enough money where my wife would be. It's just the way I was raised. But my wife's a pretty strong woman, independent. So it stepped her up a little bit, I believe. Just in her thoughts and the way
her strength.
Yeah, the way if I say something, she put me in my place a little more.
Did you see that helped her level up and give her did that give her permission to speak up and not subordinate to you so much?
I think so.
Because you were a hot shot.
I think so. Yeah.
Can you see the power dynamic happens in relationships where there's up and there's a down, and then something happens like what you did, and then you got caught, and then that scene with your mother, and this was where you were thinking you're hot shit as the big cheese at the resort.
Yeah.
And then can you see that you brought her up? You gave her permission to come up. Mm-hmm. And what's the benefit to your son of having a mother who's empowered?
Not gonna raise a wussy. Simplest terms.
Had you not done what you did and then got caught, what would be the drawback to your son?
Maybe it'd be more timid. Maybe it'd be more not outgoing and as funny as he is, and just awesome.
Sit with that one for a moment.
Yeah.
Did you also need a humbling because you thought you were hot shit too? With the job that you had, the prestige, all the people working under you, the power, was it getting to your head a little? If you can be real, you can be honest with it.
More than likely. I don't do the politics thing. So when I move up, it's just based on merit and how I do. So yeah, to move up in a beautiful resort that fast and that good, and I was the man.
And can you see that humbled you when you went to your next gig that leveled you up even further?
Oh yeah. Sure did.
So what would be the drawback if you didn't go through that exact thing and make the exact choices that you did?
Yeah, I wouldn't know half as much as I know today about culinary and stuff. About cooking and managing people, actually.
What was the benefit of your guilt all those years? Let's leave the scene last year where you cheated aside, because we're going to get to that.
benefit of the guilt.
What's been the benefit of you holding on to that guilt all these years? What did it force you to do?
Let's see. The benefit question is weird to me.
I know. This is different thinking, isn't it?
It is.
But that's exactly, research shows that if you can take stressful events and just look at the benefits, it transforms the way that you feel. Not to justify it, remember, because the future hasn't been written yet, remember. I'm not justifying future events here. Please, I want everybody, the haters and the critics and all the emails that are going to come in. Are you justifying everyone going? No. I'm trying to understand the fire so that we can make more conscious decisions and choices moving forward.
The benefit of the opposite of the guilt.
The benefit of the guilt.
The benefit of the guilt. I don't know really exactly how.
Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase the question. You at that event with your mom and your wife, you felt guilt. Okay.
Absolutely.
What was the benefit of you holding on to guilt moving forward after that?
I was hoping it would never happen again.
Can you see that for a period of time? It kept you connected with your family at the most critical time?
Yeah.
Because listen, 16-year marriage, you go through phases, don't you? You go through ups and downs, and let's be real, other people are attractive. You're a human being. You're a male. She's a female. There are opposite sex. There's different scenarios, and attractive people come into our lives. Can you see how that guilt served you for that period of time? Why was it necessary for you to have guilt during that critical time?
It was nice not to worry about trying to please other people. It was, I didn't have to make anybody laugh. I didn't have to, I didn't have to do stuff. Can
you see that the guilt was a bit of an invisible barrier or boundary moving forward at a very critical time of getting married and getting pregnant?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it
was there.
And what's the benefit to your family of your guilt?
Hopefully showing her what I wanted.
Absolutely.
Hopefully early on in the relationship, knowing even if I screw up, that's what I wanted.
Absolutely. So can you see that it gave you certainty? Mm-hmm. Can you see that your guilt has lightened a little bit?
A little bit. A little bit, yeah.
Had you not done that, had you not done it, okay?
Right.
Had you not done it, let's look at the reality. Let's put the fantasies aside and look at the reality of it. At that time, let's try this. Why should you have done that? Why should you have cheated at that time? Let's look at where you were at the time.
Okay. I think if I hadn't have cheated and been a stand-up guy and actually wondered what would it be like to date somebody else or something like that, I would have just left her and never, gotten this life.
Can you open your heart to yourself that you found absolute certainty? That this is the one for you because you've tried other things?
Yeah, absolutely. You find more love when you screw up too. Yeah.
Can you see how much love that you had but from your mother as well?
Oh, yeah. I knew that. Mama boy, straight up. I knew that.
Totally. She totally kind of came to your defense. And what did that mean to have you see that?
Oh, she came to my wife's defense, not mine.
Exactly, which is what you wanted, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Mom's going to do the right thing. Always.
So what would be the drawback to your whole entire life right now had you not cheated in that scene and that whole scene not happened exactly as it did?
I might have wanted to just go out with other people and broken it off if I was a more stand-up guy, I guess.
And what would be the drawback to your son?
He wouldn't be here. He wouldn't be here at all.
Well done. So what would you change about that scene?
Nothing.
Can you open your heart to yourself for finding certainty and helping your wife level up?
Yeah, I think so.
And yourself. What would be the drawback to your career had you not cheated
Right.
in that scene?
I might have just stayed at that job, stayed stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
not really learned any much more,
Mm-hmm.
because I was supposed to be doing it all by myself, being a leader before I was ready. So I don't think I would have actually, as you say, leveled up at all.
Beautiful. Now let's go to the scene last year where it happened again. Can you start to see some parallels with that? Were you kind of getting into the same kind of thing? You went up in the ranks in the new place?
Yeah. Yeah, I was the big bad man, big man on campus.
The big man on campus type of thing? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was the benefit of you cheating last year?
It's still a certainty of me telling my wife I would do anything to be with her.
And what did you do? What did it force you to do that you weren't willing to do on your own before there?
Move 1,500 miles away.
You moved 1,500 miles away and took a decrease in your job, didn't you?
Yep.
How did that serve your time with your son?
It's really good with him. I served a lot of time with him because obviously the other jobs were way more demanding. So I get to spend so much more time with him.
Sit with that one for a moment.
So much more time.
And how does that serve him at such a young age? He's 9, right?
Yes, sir.
Why is it so important for a 9-year-old boy to spend more time with his father?
I would just want to teach him the right things to do, right things to say, right things to how to be a man.
And how has this humbling circumstance, let's call it that, because you got caught last year, right?
Yeah.
How did that humbling circumstance serve with your bond with your son and his development?
I think pretty good. I mean, honestly, he's just awesome. He's great.
Have you been able to have more authentic, heartfelt conversation with him over the past year about it?
Yeah, because it's easier to bring up when you're together all the time. You can integrate talking about anything from you go from a joke and you be like, hey, what do you really think about this, or how about this. We don't have a lot of deep conversations.
Right.
He's 9,
right?
But it's actually we were playing Monopoly the other day, and he's like, oh, I just I should gonna kill myself. I'm like, excuse me, you don't say that. I said the only person you can love is yourself. So
were you talking to yourself there, buddy?
No, I was talking to him. No, but I was maybe trying to impart some wisdom you gave me.
Yeah, so. Beautiful.
And his response was, what, I'm not going to have a wife when I get older? I'm like, well, sometimes, and that almost brought me down.
Yeah.
Just going,
yeah.
You always got to count on yourself.
So let's try this for a moment. Let's keep going here. So let's look. How did it serve your wife last year that you got caught cheating? What did it do with the power dynamic and everything? How did it serve her?
She had always mentioned she wanted to come down here to be closer to her family.
Did your actions then give her the voice and the right to be able to follow her dream?
It was, even if it was my suggestion of, I want to please you. I'll do anything. I made mistakes, and I really want, if this is the way we can be together, then I will do anything for you. That's basically how that went, and I suggested it. I think, I mean, so not to go any more, but
okay. So what's the benefit? So let's look. So what's been the benefit to her that you did that then?
She gets to see her family way more. Obviously, her parents. Her dad's still with us, but he has cancer, and he says he's only going to be here about 3 more years. So obviously,
can you see how your actions actually pushed her to give herself the right to be able to actually spend more time with her family without any guilt?
Yeah, because she knew I wasn't keen on coming down here. But.
And then if you hadn't done what you did, what would be the drawback to her?
We wouldn't be down here. We would be finding a different job or whatever at that time, because she was unemployed for about 6 months, and I had gotten fired from that big job. Basically, they're just getting rid of some higher salaries, so I did lose that job. So we would actually had to start over somewhere up there, not knowing where to go, what to do, where to live, that kind of stuff.
So can you see how your actions empowered her and gave her the right to go down to be in Florida with her family? Yeah. And how has the move benefited your son?
Like I said, how much more time that I get to be with him. I mean, I used to working, way over 60 hours a week plus the drive every day. So, I really hardly seen him.
You get to be a part of his life. You get to be a part.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So if you hadn't cheated, so if you hadn't had that extracurricular activity, what would be the drawback to your son?
I wouldn't see him nearly as much. Nearly, I could go from, hour a day maybe to, I get to spend days with them.
So realistically, if we put the fantasy aside and go with the reality, can you see how what you did and the whole thing, how it all came to a boil, has served your relationship with him and your family?
Yeah. At least him. Obviously, I didn't do everything right with her.
Right.
But
let's look. How did it serve her? Let's say you moved down to Florida. You were again humbled. How did that benefit her?
We got to set up new. Moving into a new place, being close to her family.
How did that serve in your relationship at the time?
It was good. It was starting over. I mean, it was almost like a honeymoon.
Ah.
It was.
Can you see that it was getting a little stagnant?
It was.
And you were getting unconscious again.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
Can you see that your action was an attempt to get more certainty with the relationship?
Yeah, never thought, don't think about it that way, Maybe it was more attention, more.
Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that time. Why should you have at that time? Let's look, everybody, let's assume that negative emotions, let's assume that everybody's doing the very best they can at the time. Let's go to the time where you were caught this last year. Why should you at that time have done what you did? You weren't getting any attention? Was it kind of getting boring?
I was getting mad at her, actually for staying home, even though that's like my ultimate goal. But not having a job for 6 months,
okay.
I was mad at her.
So you were starting to resent her because she wasn't really moving with her life.
Right.
Okay, let's stick with that. Let's get real with it. No judgment.
Okay.
There is no judgment here. I want you to take the judgment hat off of yourself because I can still feel you're judging yourself. Okay?
Do it for 43 years.
Right. Let's take the judgment off. Okay? Why at that time should you have done what you did? So you were resenting her. You were talking to her. She was not moving. She was stagnant with her life, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She wasn't. Was she doing anything to better herself?
No.
Sit with that one for a moment. A little bit of an epiphany. She wasn't moving forward with herself.
No.
Please write that down.
Got it.
So let's explore that a little bit. She was not moving forward with herself, kind of lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Was she attractive? Was she taking care of herself? Was she doing things to make herself look, feel, improve, level up?
No.
Meanwhile, where were you? You were at the top of your game, weren't you?
Pretty much.
Can you see the power dynamic shift? Okay, let's observe that, because you have a 16-year relationship. And in a long-term relationship, power dynamics will shift depending on career, spiritual growth, education, social, financial. There are several powers that we have. Can you see how the glaring disparity between your powers?
Oh, yeah. There was then. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Can you see that you were the overdog at the time?
Yeah.
Can you see that in any relationship throughout life in human behavior, it's usually the overdog that wants to explore their options?
Yeah.
Getting attention.
Yeah, definitely.
And you were getting attention from people who were empowered, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Sit with that one for a moment. Did it mean you didn't love her, though?
No, it did not mean that.
But what did it mean? You started seeing something a little bit more attractive at the time, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
Can you see at the time, if you were to take away judgment at the time, can you own that she wasn't leveling herself up? Which, when somebody doesn't do that, that's not really attractive. We put a ring on a finger and we assume, oh, they deserve our loyalty. But loyalty, doesn't mean that you're not a human being that will find other people attractive, especially women who are working towards empowering themselves.
Yeah.
Can you see why at that time you would have been drawn to other women as a normal human being if she wasn't doing anything to connect with you, communicate in your values, make herself elevate her?
Yeah.
I'm not, because you have the belief that you shouldn't have cheated. See,
mm-hmm.
I'm not justifying behavior.
Right. You're not saying I should have.
No.
You're just making me look and see what happened due to this. I understand that.
I'm saying that the future hasn't been written yet. Okay. The past already has, and the past is determined that you did. And in order for you to prevent it in the future, we have to look at the conditions that made you should have doing that. Let me rephrase that. Why should you have at that time? If you can answer that question, you'll be able to know what environmental conditions in the future are going to make you vulnerable to that again. So I want you to drop the judgment and just get very real. I'm not saying to do it again in the future. I'm saying let's go back in that moment. What were the conditions?
Maybe asserting being the boss, asserting, puffing myself up, making myself feel good that, other people actually find me attractive.
Right. Were you not so low? You had some maybe low self-esteem and you weren't getting that approval from your wife at the time.
Yeah.
Yes?
Right.
Okay. That's one reason why you might have done that, or you should have done that at that time. Okay. What else?
Yeah.
Let's look at her.
Yeah, she's she's beautiful, always beautiful, but she wasn't taking care of herself very well.
Okay. And she wasn't really bettering herself with her career, contributing.
No, not at all.
Can you see why at that time, if you have a resentment towards her, that puts you vulnerable to doing that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If I have resentment towards her at a time, I guess.
If you have resentment, let's look at the conditions. Let's look at the perfect storm that was going on at the time. You had resentment. She wasn't leveling herself up with her career, and she wasn't doing anything, wasn't getting a job, wasn't putting her time or effort into that. Right? Was she taking care of herself, or kind of like had any type of kind of
No.
pep in her step and self-esteem?
No, she never wore makeup, which I don't think she has to, but she's changed that recently. I always told her she's plain face pretty. She doesn't need makeup.
Okay, which is great. But she was being a housewife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, or did you talk to her? Did you guys both know that she had better potential than that?
No.
Was she living up to her potential?
No.
Were you feeling that you were trying to help her, but she wasn't going there?
No, because I would just think it. I wouldn't say anything.
Okay. So here's another reason why you should have. Were you being real with her and sharing your feelings?
No, not at all.
Okay. There we go.
Nope.
Can you see the perfect storm here? No communication. You didn't share your feelings. You just kept it inside. You weren't feeling like you were getting your needs met. You were resenting her at that time. She wasn't doing anything to better herself. She wasn't, because you know what makes somebody attractive, whether it's a guy or a girl? What makes somebody attractive?
Leveling up.
When they're actually moving towards something to better themselves?
Yep, leveling up.
So what was the benefit to her of what you did?
She came down here. She started losing a lot of weight. She's putting on makeup. She's dressing much prettier, sexier, a lot of stuff like that.
Can you see what a loving thing that potentially that you could have done? The fact that instead of telling her what to do, you empowered her to get off her ass and fucking level her own damn self up?
Yeah.
Did she become sexier to you after?
Oh, yeah.
Sit with that one for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Had you not cheated, what would be the drawback to her?
Who knows if she would have leveled up, if she would have started leveling up.
Can you see that sometimes we need a painful push?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Sit with that one for a moment. We stagnate sometimes in life, don't we, Jack?
Yes, we do.
In relationships too, don't we?
Very much so.
And the cheating sometimes is a way out, or what?
Way back in.
Can you see what you did at that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And can you see that she accomplishes more when she makes the decision herself to do it rather than you saying, come on, get a freaking job?
Yep. Strong girl.
But why is she strong? Where does she gain her strength from? If you hadn't done what you did all these years, what would be the drawback to your wife's strength?
She would just still be there, timid and scared and not moving, I guess.
Sit with that one for a moment. You're starting to open your heart to yourself a little bit, even though you're resisting the fuck out of me right now.
It's not on purpose, Doc.
I know. You're doing great, by the way. You're doing amazing, but it's 43 years of belief that we're trying to shatter to help you dissolve your guilt. Because when you can dissolve your guilt, your heart opens to yourself. You win, because then you give yourself permission to level up rather than being this little pathetic little thing following her around, which isn't attractive to anyone, which is why you went out in the first place and did what you did, because there wasn't anything much to look at.
Yep.
Which version of her do you prefer?
Her now. She's awesome.
If you took away your cheating, what would be the drawback to that awesome version of her that you love?
I don't think she would ever have gotten there.
Which version of her does she prefer?
I think the one now.
Sit with that one for a minute. Take away your cheating, and what would be the drawback to her self-loving of that version of her?
She probably wouldn't have had the motivation to do it. guessing, but yeah.
So let's recap the benefits to your family of what you did.
More time with my son. Actually, get to see him. Hope we'll raise him.
And what's the benefits to your guilt over the past year?
Knowing she would be there, so much, I guess.
Can you see that you gained more certainty with each other after what you did and moved down?
Yeah, it was great for 8 months. I mean,
Good.
she thought I was not wanting to be here. I mean, because I've made that clear. But I had the opinion that, hey, I'm here. I must have proved myself that I love you. So I think it's just a difference of thought process.
If you hadn't cheated, would you have had the certainty that you love her?
No, because I wouldn't have done what she wanted.
Sit with that one for a moment. I'm trying to get you to love yourself, dude. Working slowly, isn't it?
Very, very slowly, but I try. I'm trying.
So let's look back. You didn't cheat last year. Let's go to that scene. You didn't cheat last year. And you didn't, what would be the drawback? That didn't happen. You never cheated at all.
Don't know if we would ever even got married, honestly. Don't know if, I don't know if she would ever, leveled up and had enough of me and said, screw this, I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna not do better guy wise, but do better life wise, maybe. She's a hard worker. She goes out and does 2 jobs. She works, 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, and just amazes me, that she has that drive in her.
Where did she get that drive all of a sudden last year?
Just to do what she can to help, to come down and, let's do this. Let's move on with our lives. And
would it have happened if you hadn't pushed her with what you did?
No, it wouldn't have happened.
You like that version of her?
Yeah.
So let's take away the fantasies of shoulds and all that stuff. What would you change about what you did? What's stopping you? What's stopping you from loving yourself for what you did at the time?
Because it hurt her.
Okay. So what was the benefit of you hurting her?
She might have gotten benefit out of it.
Uh-huh.
It still caused her pain, and that's of course
okay.
The
pain.
The guilt.
I understand, because we don't do. Did you do it on purpose to hurt her?
No.
What was your intention at that time?
I guess to fulfill my needs or something. That's what I would guess.
Absolutely. And as a result of hurting her, let's assume that negative emotions aren't lethal and that everyone's doing the very best they can at the time. What's the benefit of hurting her, of feeling pain, of causing her pain?
Motivating her, I would guess.
She was sitting at home and not doing anything, according to you, and
yeah.
Did it dissolve your resentment?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, is your wife watching?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I did talk to her today. She asked me how it went or whatever.
Okay. Here's the thing. If your wife is watching right now, and you're wondering that she is, that would affect and impact your ability to get real.
No, I'm assuming she's not.
Okay.
She's at work.
Okay. So how did it serve her when you hurt her? What did she do? What did you hurting of her force her to do that she wasn't willing to do on her own without it?
Kind of decide like I said, it was my suggestion to move, so I'm not putting that on her. But it was more of a, okay, we're got to do something. We had to do something, and we decided what to do, and it was kind of what she wanted to do, and I was like, all right, let's do it. Let's go.
So you wouldn't have been down here. You wouldn't have been down here if it wasn't for her.
No. We wouldn't. We would have been stagnant, looking for another job, and
what would have been like? What would have been like up there in Michigan when her father's dying of cancer and she's not able to see him?
right? She would have,
What kind of a life would that have been for her?
Right. She would have maybe resented herself for not being here.
And what would that have done to the family?
It just made her feel horrible about herself, I'm guessing.
What's the benefit of your son being able to see his grandfather and have a relationship with him?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He's a great guy. He's pretty. He's a character. So knowing that grandpa too, along with my father, it's pretty good.
Take away what you did there, and what would be the drawbacks to that relationship and bond in the last few years of his life?
He wouldn't. Obviously, he'd know him, but he wouldn't know him as much. Obviously, the grandfather babysits a lot. They actually live across the street where my wife moved into, and I'll come home from work and pick them up, and they're sitting on the couch watching Nat Geo Wild and
making memories.
Exactly. Look at this, Dad. Hey, me and Papa watch this.
How does it make you feel to be able to see that?
It's pretty good. It's have another strong man in his life. Really
more time with him.
Yep, more time with him. More
time with Papa at the last few years of his life.
Yep.
Mom gets to spend time.
Yep.
With him.
Yep. There's a lot of benefits.
Take away the cheating, and what would be the drawback to that?
We wouldn't have been here. He wouldn't have, gotten to know his grandparents.
And take away the pain that you caused her. Could you see the pain gave her permission to say, I'm moving, I'm leaving?
Yeah.
I want to do what I want now, and get to speak up for herself at a time where she was disempowered?
Yes.
Can you see that pain often empowers us?
Yeah. I believe she said she was thinking about leaving me anyway to move to Florida. I was going to come down to Florida to visit and just stay for the whole summer and figure out if she wanted to be with me. And then I said, you were going to do that, because she had found out and didn't tell me that she knew. And I was like, you're just going to do that? How dare you, kind of thing. And then
can you see the guilt made you want to prove to her how much she means to you?
Yeah. I mean, I like doing that. I mean, I want to prove it to her. I want to, and if she thinks that I'm not happy down here, that was the big thing when she started talking about happiness. I'm like, maybe it's not all rainbows and unicorns, but I'm happy being with you. It doesn't matter where, and that's what I'm trying to prove to you. It doesn't matter where.
Can you see that you discovered, because of your cheating, you discovered where happiness truly is?
It does.
Would you have known that with certainty if you didn't cheat? If you didn't have that relationship? I don't even want to use the word because it's got such a negative connotation. If you didn't explore that.
No, because I might have just thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And I've actually told her that to her, because obviously she did what she did. And I said, I've been looking at the other side of the grass way too much in my life and our relationship, and it's not greener. This is the greenest pasture in the world, me and you.
So what would you have changed about what your decision was last year and the extracurricular activities that you did? You still believe that you shouldn't have cheated on her?
I wish there was a better way that I could have done it.
Can you see that that we do things, a better way? I wish that I could get all of these amazing things, but not have to go through pain to get it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Or give pain.
That's the fantasy, right? But in reality, things happen actually on the way to get those things.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's hard to say that I'm glad that I cheated on my wife or had an affair to prove my love.
But it goes again because it goes against what we actually think it should be, because we have such societal beliefs. We have these beliefs that happen. What else would have worked so efficiently? Tell me.
I have no clue, Doc.
What other strategy did you have to get all of these things in the most efficient way?
No, I had no strategy. No, none. Nothing.
So do you still believe in all of these things and all of the benefits to your son? Let's look at your son.
Yeah.
Take away that, you wouldn't have moved. What would be the drawbacks to his life if you didn't cheat?
We wouldn't have been certain where we were going to end up. Like I said, I lost the job and had to move actually out of the house we were renting. They're selling it. So we really had no clue of where we would have ended up. So, the drawbacks, I don't know, because we were uncertain of where we're going to go.
What would you change about where you're at right now, except for what happened? We're going to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there yet. Before all this happened.
What I would change, I would ask my wife and myself to make sure our son got into more sports. He was a hockey player and he loved hockey, and no real hockey around here unless it's
great. Put that down.
Ways away.
Put that. Go ahead and write that down as a to-do for your son, as an insight that came up that would be great for you guys to talk about. That's great. But let's look at the whole scenario and the extracurricular activities that you did and what they brought you and what they brought her.
It brought us down here and closer to our family and more time with my son, more time with his papa and his grandma, and
honeymoon again.
It was great.
And the guilt made you do what?
Realize where I wanted to be, who I wanted to be.
What else would have worked to get you there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. What else would have worked?
So now let's look at this situation. Let's look at right now as we sit here and you're feeling in that moment where, in this situation with your wife's activities. I'm going to get you to bring up the anger or that feeling of betrayal.
Okay.
Feel that in that moment, in this moment, feeling that betrayal in that moment. Where do you feel the betrayal, Jack?
Stomach. Want to puke.
Sit with it for a moment. Now, simultaneously, as you're sitting there, just sit with it for a moment. You feel that betrayal. Where are you feeling loyalty coming from? You see that your son, let's look around.
Yeah.
What's causing you to feel loyalty right now at this time?
Son, family, friends.
Have they been backing you up lately?
Oh yeah.
Bring that in.
Yep. Certainly have.
Tell me how they've been reaching out to you and making you feel loyal.
You know, wife had it right. At one time, my sister is kind of going through the same thing as has been for a while, and she's like, you should call your sister, and that's the way my wife is. You should call your sister. And I'm obviously the guy doesn't talk very much. That's why I'm doing such horrible at the show. But
no, you're doing great.
I didn't call. And
you're actually doing great.
When I didn't call, it was just because I didn't want to bring up any bad things that I've done, or bring up those feelings, or put my.
You want to run away from the feelings. You're not a guy that usually talks about your feelings.
Not at all.
Okay.
So, and then when we actually had some issues or whatever during those 2 weeks before I found out anything, she's like, I'm still having a hard time with what you did last year, and when I tell you to call your sister, it's so you could actually realize what I'm going through. Well, you never told me that. I didn't know that. You just told me to call my sister. If you would have told me, hey, I'm still having a hard time with this, if you call your sister, do me a favor, put yourself in her, or my, me in her shoes, and see how I feel and how she feels. Maybe you'll understand me more. But she didn't. She never told me that until
Can you see the loyalty?
Oh, absolutely. And then I did, and then of course, me and my sister kept talking and and
it opened the doors for you guys.
Absolutely. And brothers, and I got 3 other brothers, and we've all talked, and they all helped.
Bring in that feeling of loyalty.
And friends.
And friends. Bring that in.
The old friends. Yep.
Can you see how just as much betrayal that you're feeling, that you actually are having an equal and opposite amount of loyalty simultaneously from all around?
Yeah, I can.
Can you also see the loyalty in your wife telling you to call your sister?
Yeah, but it was just so hidden of, this is why I want you to. The communication is just what sucked. I wish you would have told me.
Told you what?
That do me a favor. I'm having a hard time with what you did last year. Still, she says it now. I still think about it every day, is what she says. If I would have known it would have pleased her more, instead of just telling me what to do. If I would have known that she, she would like me to do this because of this, I think I would have done it a lot easier, a lot faster.
Well, why shouldn't she have said it at the time? Why shouldn't she have opened up like that at that time? Would you have understood at that time the way?
Yeah, probably not, because there was something going wrong.
Sit with that one for a moment. The delusion is she should have told me back then, but you hadn't experienced that pain.
Right. Everything was going fine, as far as I knew.
Right. See, fantasy, I should have at the time. But let's look at reality. Let's look at the reality at the time. At the time. You should have told me back then. Your head wasn't there because you hadn't yet experienced pain.
Right.
Now it's like, listen, you should call your sister. She'll understand. Now you'll know the other side, because you now know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So can you see all the loyalty and the support that's balancing out your rejection right now? That you're getting just as much. And can you see you're getting just as much support that now as you are this challenge that you're feeling from all the places?
Yeah.
Including me. Holy fuck. Reaching
what
out
a weird thing to find you, sir.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah. I'm like, look, I want to help you.
I wouldn't have been on Periscope looking for that if that wouldn't have happened. Would have skipped right over that one. Put it under the rug like I usually do.
And then just kept going and then just not talked about it.
Yep.
So why? Let's look here. Let's now go from overview, where there is no space for judgment of yourself or other people. Why should your wife at the time have made that decision and did her extracurricular activities? Let's bear in mind yours as well. Let's bear in mind your activities from the past, and now
Right.
let's bring it in so that we can get a full spectrum.
I have no idea. I wish it was just to get even. I don't know if it was to get even, if she's finding something she needs.
Whoa. Hold on. Yes, definitely. But let's start with, you remember where you were at with, where she was at with her life?
Yeah, she was working all the time, moving up. I don't know. Yeah, moving up a little bit.
Okay, and where are you with that?
And my life, my job. I I moved up a little bit, but it's still obviously nothing that I'm used to. A lot easier.
You're not really leveling yourself up at work?
No, I did. Obviously, I got promoted after just a few months because.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The actual executive chef said he wouldn't even be here if I wasn't here. You know, he said that in front of a group going, I wouldn't have been able to make it this year without me. So you know, but it's not a $10 million a year. It's,
Right.
It's a, you know,
it's a lower scale type of
place.
thing. Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see what's going on with the power dynamic now?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay, so what's this forcing you to do that you weren't willing to do on your own?
Hopefully improve myself. Hopefully.
That's right.
To do this.
That's right. To start working on your guilt.
Mm-hmm.
To start healing yourself from the guilt a little bit. The charge has gone down, even though we're not like 100% yet. The charge on yourself and the resentment towards yourself. Have you noticed it going down?
I have a little bit. Yep.
So why should your wife? Let's look. Why should your wife? Were you building and, you know, going out and reaching out and expanding, or are you constantly kind of like pining?
Waiting for her to get home. That's all I was doing every day, pretty much.
Can you see that the subordination thing here? This is something I want everybody to really understand, is that there are power dynamics in a relationship. The underdog, it's an underdog overdog game that's constantly happening because we're always changing. And if we don't pay attention and one starts to move up, if the other one doesn't follow suit, then what happens? We leave ourselves vulnerable.
Yep.
And if there's a set of values and priorities and sexuality or whatever, and you're not communicating and talking, how can I fulfill your needs? This is what I want. And you're not building yourself up, then somebody else, kind of like in your situation, can come into the mix and then all of a sudden give you something, give them something that you're not getting.
Mm-hmm.
So what is what she's doing forcing you to do that you weren't willing to do on your own?
Well, like I said, this show, actually, you know, see a therapist to get to talk about it, to talk about, you know, stuff. Like I don't do this. I don't do this. You would never have seen me ever.
That's right. Can you see that the guilt that you're, here's, what is the benefit of what she's done?
Now you're getting into bad shit.
How is this served in your feelings of guilt and self-loathing? Can you see this is helping you heal from the guilt? It's giving you kind of like we're even type of thing?
You know, no, it's not. I mean, it just made me feel worse. Like I said, not even the act, just making her. And I said in my shitty first statement. I guess lowering her self-esteem to doing that, because that's what I felt that like it was a lowered self-esteem, that she was not getting something at home that she could get somewhere else. So the actual benefit, I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay.
I know it's there somewhere, but it's
right. I know it's a tough one. This is a tough one. Let's keep going. It's there.
You know, there's times in the last week or two since she's moved out that I feel I've been either quiet and not communicating at all, especially at work. I mean, normally I'm the one that puts on music and stuff, and I won't talk. I won't do anything. But then after she's done the little things like the unsolicited hug the other day, it made me feel great.
Right.
I went in, I put on music, I created the special, some really cool specials, stuff that I had no passion to do in the last while. I haven't had that passion, and I found myself having it again. Going, why did I come up with this? Or everybody loved it, but how did I get to here? How did I, why am I doing this? So I do want to level up.
It's starting to force you to do it, right?
It is.
What's the benefit of the pain? Again, what we talked about. Even though it hurts, let's assume it's not lethal.
Yeah. Pain, hopefully it will make me better.
It's forcing you into it. Eh?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, then there's certain times, I feel cold, and I'll go right back to the self-loathing.
Of course, you're going through. This is very new and raw, right?
Absolutely.
So how is what she did serving in your relationship with your family?
Hopefully in the future, it will make me level up. Like I said, just seeking out help. I would never have done that. I mean, not even if I wouldn't have found you.
Could you see that it's actually helped you bond with your sister and brother?
Yeah, absolutely. All my brothers, talk to them a little bit more than I used to.
Had she not done that, what would be the drawback to your relationship with your family?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that they were there for me.
Sit with that one for a moment. What does that mean to you?
It means the world. That's what's my deepest value. Family.
Family. Can you see that gave you an opportunity to reconnect with your family?
Yeah.
And look for reasons and realize you have a road of growth to do. Mm-hmm. If she hadn't done this, let's look at the trajectory you're going with in your career and personal development. And also as the type of father that you want to be to your preteen. Mm-hmm. Let's look at that.
Yeah.
What's been the benefit to your fatherhood of her doing this?
Trying to, be strong for him.
Are you getting vulnerable with him and chatting with him more, talking to him about it?
I'm trying not to. I know he's a little confused about
what's
going back and forth. I mean, obviously it's straight across the street, and we see each other, mostly every day. But so we told him what happened about the fight. Said Mommy and Dad fought. He's like, yeah, you woke me up. Sorry, buddy, but we don't really want to do that anymore. We don't want to fight. So Mom's gonna move across the street, and then you'll stay with her a couple days.
Were you guys having some fights over the past few months?
No, we're pretty quiet and don't communicate. I think if we fought a little more, we, we'd at least be able to get stuff out in the open more. Okay. We're pretty reserved, and we don't speak up unless somebody makes somebody really mad or something.
Just out of curiosity, when you had done your extracurricular activities before, what did your wife do that made you want to reconnect with her? Was she constantly begging for you back?
No.
What did she do?
No. Let's see.
Did she give you space?
No. This last time she actually said, you broke me. You broke me. She goes, you finally did it and you broke me, and that just killed me.
Can you see that you got the opportunity to feel what she felt?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of you getting
sharing pain? You know, you go through something together. It usually makes you stronger.
Sit with that one for a moment. Can you see that she needed some healing time afterwards?
Yeah, and
time to herself.
And yeah, she got it because she stayed up there to close up the house for about a month with my son, and I came down to find a place and a job and that stuff. And you know,
can you see that the time apart was really good for her?
I think it was, and I think it was because
what did she do in that time?
Yeah, we talked a lot more. We texted. We you know, FaceTimed every day, stuff like that. You know, and just I miss you and I miss you. That's when she wanted to separate. Now that's what I was hoping for. I said I you know, I asked her. I said, did you miss me right after when I left for the month? She said, yes, I really missed you. I said, well, then okay, then you can. I guess we'll separate, and I really hope you miss me again. That's what I'm hoping for.
Beautiful.
Yep.
So what's the benefit of being 16 years together and missing each other? And getting to miss each other.
You know, it rekindles what we had. You know, yeah, that's what I think.
Absolutely. As long as you use that each to ask yourself the right questions. What am I going to do to make myself better?
Right.
And if she hadn't taken the time to level up the way that she did, can you see that
wouldn't have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So in this case, where you were at in your career,
sorry, what's that?
Is it helping her heal her pain to have the opportunity to know how you felt and how it was possible that you loved her even though you cheated?
I think so. I think so. You know, can't speak for her.
What's the benefit to her? What's the benefit to her that she got to do that to you? Let's just get real.
I don't know if it's empowering because, you know, she feels sexier. She looks sexier. She's doing a lot of makeup, you know, a lot more makeup. She's working all the time. So the benefit is, I mean, she's obviously feeling desirable for other people. I mean,
see, here's the thing. Can you see that has she completely disconnected from you and doesn't want to talk to you anymore?
No.
So what does that tell you?
Hopefully she still loves me. Hopefully.
Can you see that it's impossible for her to not know how you feel right now?
It's as much as I don't text her and want to or talk to her or whatever, and even if she's coming over to, you know, as a booty call, she'll call it.
Okay, here's the question that I have for you. Have you always wanted her to know
yes,
that you love her and
yes,
that you know how she feels?
Yeah, always wanted that.
Can you see that now you can know with certainty that she knows how that you know how she has felt?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can definitely say I know how she's felt. Because
wasn't that the one thing? Wasn't that kind of like the one thing that no matter how much you told her, you could never truly understand?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to understand.
Can you see how she's been kind of using it against you all of this whole year, all this time? Off and on during certain times?
No? Not very often. I wouldn't say that. I mean, she didn't dangle her legs a carrot to make sure she got that. She didn't do that. No.
Let's try this. Let's try this one. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any more efficient way to get you guys both back on the same page after everything that you had done throughout your life?
No, not without help or knowing how to communicate a little bit better without having a big event happening or something to release us to talking to releasing
getting real, for God's sake, for once.
Exactly.
For you to deal with your emotions, to communicate.
We don't do that very well.
Can you see why these things will happen over and over again if you don't get the lesson?
Yes.
So looking forward, the highest version of you down the road, had this not have happened with her, what would be the drawbacks?
I think it would be harder for me to actually tell her how I feel, or anybody, I guess.
Or understand how she felt.
Right.
Now that you understand from a first-person perspective how she felt, what's the benefit of that to you?
I just hope it makes us stronger, you know.
It can potentially open the lines of, and how would
communication? Yeah, absolutely.
How would a couple, two different people with two different values, keeping their feelings bottled up inside, what's the way that it would cause them to connect?
Open up and letting those feelings and everything go out.
Were you willing to do that?
No, I was trying to sweep everything under the rug.
Right.
I didn't want to talk about it.
Until what? What would it take? What would it take to you to open the fuck up?
She did it to me.
Can you see that if you don't take the time to communicate your feelings and find out how she felt, and just today, what do you want? How do you feel? And just mirroring, just be honest and own what you're feeling. Feel it. Don't run from it and sweep it under the rug. Feel it. I was getting you to feel very uncomfortable emotions today.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you've been trying to run away from. First time ever. So congrats. This is not easy for a guy, a chef who's never done anything personal development or anything, for you to get in touch with your feelings. You're doing great, considering this is your first time. You're not supposed to be a rock star at it first time. It's like me taking you golfing. And then you're like, oh, I'm not doing great. This is your first time. I didn't expect.
I'd whip your ass in golf anyway. Just kidding.
Let's keep going. Hold on. I'm not letting you off the hook.
Yeah, I know.
Why should she have done that?
It opened up a lot of doorways that we were never talking about that stuff before, about anything.
Is that the kind of relationship you want to model for your child?
Non-communication? No. No. Non-goal orientated? No.
So if she has feelings and she can't come to you, what's the benefit of her going somewhere else to do that? What's the benefit?
She gets to express those feelings.
Right. And she didn't express the feelings. You said before you were going to leave.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of her getting it on the side to you?
And she knows. Hopefully it makes her realize. You know.
Right. That's one of them. She gets to live with the guilt and know how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see that it also gets to show her that she could do that and still love you?
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, what do you mean you hope so? She's texting you. She's calling you. She comes over. She still wants you. You know she hasn't stopped loving you.
I know.
So can you see the benefit of her if she had this resentment for 16 years all along, and then she tries it on and goes, oh, wait, you can have sex and still love. It's just sex, but it doesn't mean that love isn't there.
I sure hope so. I mean, I know, but
you know
what I'm saying.
You know so. There's absolute certainty that there's love there.
I think there is, yeah.
Of course. So what's the benefit of her exploring that without talking to you?
Hopefully she realizes I didn't do it out of wanting to hurt somebody, wanting to hurt her.
Sit with that one for a moment. Can you see now for the very first time she gets to understand how you felt?
Yeah.
She gets to empathize with you.
Yeah, she knows. I think she would know that, yeah, she still can love me and make a mistake.
And explore.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see how her exploring is trying to keep the family together for a while she was exploring?
Yeah.
What would have been the drawback if she said, if she was honest with you? Let's be honest here. What would have been the drawback if she came up to you and said, Jack, there's somebody at work who understands how I feel. We talk, we get to be real and communicate with each other. And I want to explore that. Would you have been able to handle that?
Nope. I said, what the fuck? You're mine. What am I not giving you that you can't do, you know? And I wouldn't have understood that maybe it is the communication that she can't do.
Or you can't do.
Or I can't do. Yeah. We both don't do it very well.
We both don't do it very well. Absolutely. Yeah. Can you see that her exploring that, can you see that she's trying to get more certainty as well, the same way you were?
I hope so. Like I said, I don't know what she's
what's the only way? What's the only way that she can be certain?
You're right, by doing it. By
Sit with that one for a moment. And the fact that she did do it, how does it serve you? I'm not giving up on you. You got this.
I know. I'm trying, man.
You got this, bro.
I'm trying. What does it give me?
The fact that she did do that and explored that over there, she's not completely out of your life. She's just taking a break and just creating some space the same way you guys separated before when you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Created some space. How does that serve you?
I want to say, I don't know. I want to say, it will serve me by her, missing me or realizing that, things need to change a little bit. But the love is still there.
Right.
If this happens this way, then that I'll know that gave her the certainty of, okay, the love is there, but we just need to do things a little bit different and figure out what that little different is.
Right. What's the benefit of you giving her the space for that?
Right. Letting her decide for herself.
Sit with that one for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
While you can do what?
Sit and brood. Level up.
That's one strategy. How's that working out for you?
It's not working very well, but it happens sometimes.
But what did she do instead of sit and brood?
She's going out a little more. Obviously, she has some good friends down here. When
you did it to her, what did she do? Did she just sit and brood?
No. This last time, no. She leveled up, I believe. Obviously, she leveled
what
up.
options do you have? Sit and brood and what?
Level up.
Right.
I know. I was going to say it earlier. I mean, sometimes it's hard to want to level up too.
I know that.
It is.
It's very difficult to level up. Every time it's difficult to expand yourself. It's scary.
Because you sit there and you know, even having a good day, all of a sudden it will be, I don't want to level up. I don't want to do anything. I don't want
And
to,
that's normal.
you know, I don't deserve to level up. I don't want to do anything without her. So, and I know I got to get over that. You got to eventually for myself and
Yeah, absolutely.
for my sons. So,
Just out of curiosity, in this time where you're feeling inadequate, what's causing you to feel superior? Where's your superiority complex coming in?
yeah, you look at your son, you know, and I look at my son and say, I want him to have the best. I want to, you know, lead by example, because that's actually how I do it at work. Because you know, I'm not that vocal of a guy. I'll just say, you know, do what I did, man. Come on, let's do this. Let's go out and do it. Sure.
So let's look. If she hadn't done that, what would be the drawbacks? If she never did this, she never did and explored.
I think, you know, we would still be just stagnant, or, you know, she might not have been, because obviously she's leveling up herself. I think I was more content. Just, you know, I do get to have more time with my son, which is awesome. I'm content at my job, but not wanting
You're
to.
not moving. Yeah, but you're
No,
not. You're
no, it's easy. It's easy for me.
You haven't been challenging yourself there, have you?
No, not at all.
Have you
No.
been making her and her attention of you and her approval of you your entire world over the past little while?
Yeah, that's why you sit home and wait for her, you know.
And is that the kind of man that you want your son to model after?
No.
So how is what she did helping you as a role model for your potential role model for your son?
Like I said, as a visual, do what I do. You know, follow me. I'll show you the way.
You're an actions speak louder than words type of guy, aren't you?
I am. Even though, you know, when you do speak and you do mean them, the words, it's hard
if you're not doing it.
Right. If the actions are contradictory to your words, even though you do mean it with the words, it's, you know, it's hard to tell your son to, you know, get off your ass and stop playing video games and go outside, when I, you know, sit and play video games or watch TV and don't go outside very much. But, you know, it's kind of actions.
So what would be the drawback to your communication moving forward?
The drawback it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be there at all. You know, it would have been status quo. It would have been, you know.
How about your own demons from your past that you know that you haven't been dealing with? They'd all be just swept under the rug. They
would have been. Just hide from them. You know, just
comfortable.
Ignore them. She knows that. I mean, when I said I read, you know, some of the text or Facebook message or something from hers, and that hurt me worse. That hurt me worse than the actual act itself. It was because it was more of a feeling. It was more of a, you know, I want to be with you kind of thing. It wasn't exact words, but that hurt me worse. And then I thought about what I've had written before, and she has seen some of them, and the ones she hasn't seen. If she would have read those, she would have thought, dear God, this guy does not love me. How can he actually say this stuff to somebody else? It's the same thing I'm thinking about when I read it from her. And it's not the case, you know. It's not the case. It's not the case. It's the only way I can actually live through that, because I know I might have said those things to someone else, but the meaning or the love of my wife wasn't there. Or, you know, it was different. It wasn't meant like that. It might have been those words, but it wasn't meant like that. And that's the only way I can get through seeing those words written from her to someone else. So that's what I kind of go by, going, you know, fuck, I didn't mean it when, you know, I might have said them, and I might have thought it at that minute when I actually wrote it.
Just to create a connection, to kind of give some sort of a excitement that you were missing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's that's what I go by when I read hers or whatever. I just hope that's what it was. That's the only thing I can do is go. I wrote some pretty stupid shit to other girls or whatnot.
Did you tell
And
her that?
no, she's known. I mean, I even said
Is this
at
an
one time.
opportunity for you guys to talk about it? Have you been holding it inside? And is this an opportunity and permission for you to talk now and share too? Get real.
It is. I'm just trying to be quiet and give her space at this moment, and waiting for her to come back and say, "Okay, let's talk." I want to give her the space to decide.
Good
Um, I don't want to, but I'm doing it, trying. Um, I've said I think everything I can to tell her I love her, and like I said, even that night I was still begging her to stay and not move out. And maybe she just realized something's got to change.
Absolutely.
More than I did. So
Yeah.
that's what that moment of just those texts or emails or whatever the hell it was. Just knowing that I've said some pretty damn bad shit that sound horrible. Even saying I love somebody more than I love my wife, and it was something to say at the moment, but it certainly wasn't true.
So what was the benefit of seeing that written for her? Did it make you realize that you can just say whatever just in the moment, in the heat of the moment, thinking?
Yeah.
Did it not make you realize that you can actually, when it made you self-reflect and look and go, holy cow, I've said similar stuff like that, even worse, and it wasn't true.
I did. That's like I said, it's the only thing that's getting me through actually seeing those, knowing that it wasn't. It might have been fun and stuff at that moment, but it wasn't true to my heart.
Now that you know how she has felt, now hold on, let's look here. Now you know that she knows how you have felt when you did your transgressions too, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the benefit of that to your communication now?
Hopefully just understand each other a little bit more.
How does it serve in your communication to know she knows how you felt before, and you know how she's felt?
I think
how does that serve in your communication?
I think anybody that goes through similar experiences with each other understand each other more. That's my theory, I think.
Can you see that if you wanted to create and bridge a gap of communication, that you'd both have to be able to empathize with each other?
Yeah.
Can you see that for the first time in 16 years of being together?
Yeah, it can't
finally empathize with her?
Yeah, it can't be all negative and pissed off and stuff like that.
And jealous. How about
jealousy
opening your heart and saying, oh my God, I totally know what I put you through, and I can totally get you now. Can I share with you how I felt? And share and say, I wrote text messages. I wrote all this stuff. I thought I felt that, but the truth is it was just the heat of the moment and I wanted some excitement, which I wasn't getting at home.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Is that an opportunity now for you guys to actually communicate for the first fucking time in your life?
I hope so.
Would it have been possible for you to communicate if you were holding on to guilt all that time and not being able to know that she has been on the same page as you?
No, that guilt was making me not want to talk about it, not wanting to open up about it. Are you froze? No, you're not frozen. You look like you're frozen.
Hold on, Jack. So the guilt was preventing you from communicating.
Yeah, it was. I'm ashamed. Absolutely.
How did your disgust for what she did serve in your guilt and shame and communication potential?
And the potential, I mean, I think it will help. I think it will actually help, you know.
Because now you get her, don't you? And now
I
she
hope so.
finally gets you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it? Can you see it could be like a reset button potentially if you are able to step back and be silent and still and let her tell you her feelings about him without you judging her and making stop and you can't see
It you know, you get that feeling of not wanting to hurt somebody, and letting your significant other know somebody made you happy for a little while, whether it even just be talking, or you know, it doesn't have to be sex. It just communicating, and they're getting something from somebody else that should be only with your partner. That hurts. So
it hurts.
To answer your communication,
you would never say it.
You would never say it. You don't want to say it. You don't want to tell them, hey, you know, I'm getting, you know, I'm getting something from somebody else.
Can you now be able to open that up and talk about it freely without as much guilt?
Yeah, without as much.
And then hear it back from her.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you see that that's what's necessary in order to have a real relationship, is to talk about uncomfortable things, not just happy things, and then sweep the negative shit under the rug?
Yep. Oh, I know.
You can't have a real relationship if you're only going to hide, if you're only going to tell half the story and not the other half. Mm-hmm. If she hadn't cheated, what would be the drawbacks to your ability to be on the same page?
Yeah, we would never talking about any infidelities of mine, even if she wanted to.
Couldn't even go there.
No.
You never even went there, right? You deliberately tried to.
I avoided my sister because I didn't want to bring him up. You know.
So did she now? Her actions help. Let's recap. Help reconnect you with your sister. Mm-hmm. And brothers, and see how supported and loved you were, and how they got your back.
Yep, certainly did.
And also the fact that she hasn't just left you. She hasn't said, oh, I found somebody else, I'm gone. Can you see how she still has loyalty towards you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
she's not there with you 24/7. She's taking some time to think about things and have a breather, but she's reaching out and she's coming over. She's making love to you.
Yeah, she's in a text. She's we started getting into a fight again. I don't even know if I say why, but she was doing something I didn't want her to do, and she's like, don't you notice that I'm trying? I mean, don't you notice that I'm talking to you and I'm trying? And
you just want to be wounded pity party, don't you? You don't even want.
So she says she's trying, and I say, yes, I did notice. I mean, I noticed a great deal.
But it's not enough because I'm still hurt.
And you're doing something against my wishes, honestly.
You're still trying to.
I've asked you to do one thing.
Yeah,
if that's the controlling.
Yeah, you said don't go see him. What would be the benefit to you if you gave her carte blanche to go see him? Go take your time. Go do whatever the hell you want. What would be the benefit?
I don't know. You told me to, so I did. You're the only one to give me that advice. Out of a few close friends or family or whoever I told, it was just a couple people, and their advice was almost exact opposite of yours. And I'm like, I think I should go with a professional this time because their choices was my choice also.
If your wife constantly put a cage around you, can you see that would actually push her away, push you away?
Yeah, I get that. I didn't think I was doing that because it was one thing. It was just one thing, and like you said,
the one thing, like don't go.
She wants right. Don't go to him. I don't want my son around the kids. I don't want you around him. And if you're thinking about us, how can you possibly think about us if you're going to be around the guy that you made the mistake with? So all my instincts and intuition were just to go crazy over it.
To protect yourself from the pain, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course, you did what you normally would, without really, you're reacting to uncomfortable feelings. That's just normal.
Absolutely. And I text her, I don't like it. I'm not going to say I like it, but it's your choice. As you said, she's a good mom. She's a good mom.
This is going to be the weirdest question ever. Can you thank her for helping you relieve you of guilt and shame for what you did?
I don't think so, because I don't think so, because I know I hurt her. It might have gotten us to where we are today. Obviously, everything you do in the past gets you to today, and in the future, it might even be better. But I don't think I could thank her for, just because I know I hurt her, at that time. I did. And, I don't know if I could, just because she makes one mistake doesn't mean it absolves me from my guilty feeling. I'm living up and owning it a little more right now, talking to you and stuff, but just saying, thanking her for, maybe after we communicate, I can say thank you for, getting rid of my guilt.
You know what? Here's the thing. You're deep in the thick of it. You're not supposed to be over it.
No, I'm not.
This is a few months process of healing. This is just your first step. It's not going to be fixed overnight.
No, I know that.
In the middle of it. I'm going through the sale of my practice. There's a few months transition, and there's an identity crisis going on. So I'm not like, that's months later. You can look back and go, you know what? There was some pretty cool stuff that happened. That's really
I watched it yesterday. Your partners were supposed to buy
it. Exactly. So it took a while of doing the work for me to look back and go, you know what? It was the greatest thing ever. But it's through this process of benefit finding, of constantly laying down new neural networks of a shift of beliefs, because your beliefs have been so hardwired all this time. You've never done this kind of work.
I've never had anybody question that it shouldn't be nothing but guilt and shame. So, right there, when I think about it, I think I will start thinking, yes, there was guilt and shame, but what else?
But what else? Why did it happen, and how did it serve?
Right.
So you're just learning this stuff. This is neuroplasticity, which is a change of your brain, of your wiring. It's like, that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. There was no good that came of it. There was no good that came of it. There was no good that came of it. These are hardwired, and you're very hardwired into that thinking. So here I am really working with you to try and change that. And it's tough.
Yes, but it is.
Looking back on that scene with your mom and your wife, and last year, that your heart's opened a little bit to both your wife and yourself and your marriage because of it?
It is. It is. Just normally it's, it makes me more vulnerable. It probably, as you say, shifts the power dynamic, and me being vulnerable and open and honest and saying, I fucked up. But I do love you and I do want to be with you and stuff like that. That, always worked in the past, and now it's not, even though I was even going as far as trying to get the attention of hurting myself, if you will.
Right.
So being that vulnerable and opening myself, and it not working at this time.
Can you see that it's not going to work as long as you are beating yourself up with guilt?
Right.
The longer you live with the guilt, the more you're beating yourself up, the more unworthy you're going to feel. Then she's going to say, yeah, you are unworthy. I'm moving on. Right. I'm going to find something else. Can you see that the pain right now, what's the benefit of the pain that you're feeling right now? Can you see that it's a bit of a punishment that you're doing to yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see that finally you get to actually, the punishment of yourself is helping you with, what I mean? The punishment, the self-hurting, it's kind of helping. How is that serving?
Yeah. Thinking, don't want to say we're even. I mean, I think that's kind of what pops into my head. Oh, we're even. Obviously not with.
How about this? We're on the same page.
Yeah,
We
yeah, it's
understand
definitely.
each other. How about this? We understand each
Yeah,
other
it's
now.
yeah, it's not even or
Yeah, it's not a
stuff like
game.
that.
It's not a
No, it's
game.
not.
It's not a
No,
game. It's not on purpose.
maybe
But
we understand each other a little more. I hope.
could you see that if this didn't happen, you would never understand each other to the depth
I
on a
I
cellular
wish
level?
for that in the future also. You know, I
Well,
wish.
you know what? It depends on your communication.
Right.
It
No.
depends. It depends on you removing the belief that she'll never find anyone else more attractive. I will never find anyone else more attractive. It's a consciousness of how can I give her what she wants while I get what I want, while we're both moving up and constantly bettering ourselves for both ourselves, our marriage, and our son.
Yes.
How is a more vulnerable and communicative and in touch with his feelings man a better father for his son?
I think it shows what a relationship can be. And you know, I think it up to its potential what a relationship can be. You know, if you see two people striving together to better themselves, to to work together towards any goal. I don't care what that goal is. If you see teamwork and love during that then he should follow suit. That's what he'll learn
He'll
and
be able to
understand.
see. He'll be able to see you growing. He'll be able to see you getting more connected with his feelings. Can you
Yeah.
see that? Can you see that your father probably was shut out from his feelings?
Yep.
Sit
Of
with that one
course.
for a moment. Do you want to raise your son the same way?
No.
Sit with that one for a moment. What's it going to take you to change your ways of dealing with your emotions and feelings and communication?
Yeah, it's got to be a conscious effort.
Would you have done it without this kind of pain?
No, no, no way.
So you're willing to, okay, let me ask you this question. Are you willing to raise your son with the same lack of connection to feelings as you were raised?
No.
Sit with that
No.
one for a moment.
No, I try to do better.
Okay. You would, right? You're realizing that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say your wife never cheated.
Right.
And you guys were going exactly as you were going from when you just moved to Florida. Fast forward 20 years, 30 years. What would be the drawback to your son if the shift hasn't been made?
Right. He wouldn't know it's okay to talk, to open up, to I don't know, to be vulnerable, to open up, talk about some
What would be the
things.
drawback to his relationships and his career?
He would probably follow in my footsteps, I would think. He would, be a hard worker, but he wouldn't be able to communicate very well.
So he would just act out instead of opening up.
Right.
Would you want your son to follow in your footsteps like that?
No. It's if you don't try to improve every generation, then what's the point?
Can you see that your wife is trying to help you break that cycle with your son? Not consciously.
Not consciously.
I'm
No.
not saying she's doing it on purpose, but I'm saying get out of yourself and look down from overview. Look at the highest version of your son. What does the highest version of your son require as far as emotional intelligence?
Communication. Oh, communication and honesty and not hiding the feelings or sweeping them under the rug and being be a man, take it, that kind of mentality. That's what pops in my head.
It's true. How can you take what you just went through over the past month and serve your son with it?
Instead of if there's bad things, I mean, obviously there's just every parent's punishment and reward system for their children. But I guess getting in touch, not with your feelings. This isn't like
Would he potentially cheat rather than communicate?
More than likely.
Sit with that one for a moment. Is that something you want for him?
No. I hope he learns from me.
How?
Not to. Teaching him what I've learned.
What you will learn. What you have yet to learn.
Lots.
Because this is just your first. Can I tell you something? Most times when people meet me, they've already gone to psychiatrists, counselors, shrinks. They've gone to doctors. They've been on medications. They've gone to everything. And then they go, holy shit, this is different. So you're starting with something that most people don't get to until they've gone through the gamut. So that's a pretty good level up. It's a bit of a mind fuck.
Well, usually don't do things half-ass. If I'm going to do it, I do it. So, and making the choice to do it is the hardest thing for me. It's not actually accomplishing the task that I have in front of me. It's making the choice to do that.
You've done great. You've done great, by the way, sir.
Oh, thank you.
You've done great. I mean, this is I just really want you to look at the highest version of your son right now. What would be the drawbacks? How can you use that? How can you use what your wife did and you did to help raise him?
When you figure it out, when you figure out that you don't communicate and you wait for the big events to happen to actually talk, you can't do that because there will always be big events. There will always be
feelings that you feel that you either discuss or you hide.
Yeah, and if you hide, then obviously stuff builds up.
So when we're looking at the whole scenario now, you can see it from a bit of a different perspective. Yeah. Do you still think that she shouldn't have cheated?
There's your should have. There's obviously benefits to open my eyes to.
Let's assume the pain. Let's take the pain away.
Then no, she should have. She should have. She needed to wake me up, I guess.
She gets you both on the same page.
Yeah. Right.
There's no more efficient way to do it. You did it before, and it worked. Because you weren't willing to fucking talk.
It's hardwired.
How about
it's hardwired in?
I know. Totally, my friend. You're doing great. See, the only way that you can preemptively catch it in the future is by removing the belief that she shouldn't do it. Because there shouldn't be fire. Well, there shouldn't be fire. How about we go, listen, there's a potential for fire if no communication, no leveling up, stagnation, unconsciousness.
Status quo. Yep. Same old, same old.
There's a potential if. And here's the other thing. Realistically, can you go through a lifetime and only find one person attractive and never find other people attractive?
No, of course not.
Now, but what if all of a sudden, let's say you start leveling up and you're the big guy again, and all of a sudden you're getting all this attention, and then the power dynamic shifts and you start noticing somebody who's paying attention to you and flirting with you. How does this sound? Try this on. You come home from work. Babe, I got something interesting. There's a new gal at work who's been, flirting with me a little bit lately. And I got to tell you, I've been really liking the attention. And I don't know what to do about that. I wanted to share that with you.
Right.
That's called communication.
That never would have happened.
Never would have fucking happened, would it? But is it normal? Is it real? Is it honest? Yeah.
Yep.
It'll happen. It's not pretty. That person might not feel good about it, but at least it opens a dialogue so that she can say, well, what do you like about her? That is there something that I'm not providing? Well, she listens to me, and I can be real around her, and she won't judge me. Oh, okay. Well, how do we do? Can you see how it's a different conversation? Never even occurred to you, did it?
No. You don't talk about things. Come on.
You don't talk about that because you're not supposed to like somebody. You're not supposed to like other people. What if she came to from work one day and said, honey, I have something to tell you. We went on a field trip and there was a guy who was flirting with me and I was really liking the attention and I found myself getting excited and I don't know, I'm just feeling really confused right now. If you don't leave the space for her to say that and you're like, then guess what? She's not going to fucking tell you shit.
Yep. I agree.
Can you see that you needed your world rocked in order for you to both get real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly.
And can you see that if she had those feelings, she probably wouldn't have been able to talk to you about them anyway? So might as well explore them and still keep my marriage going.
Yeah. Yeah, she wouldn't have been able to talk to me about it.
Hell no. You wouldn't have held space for her to do that. You weren't that strong at that time.
No way.
What does it take for you to get stronger? Look at your wife, how strong she's become.
The pain
incredible
you go
pain.
Through. Pain makes you stronger.
If you use it.
If you just don't.
To love yourself and her unconditionally. What's stopping you from loving her for who she is?
Nothing. Nothing's stopping me from loving her for who she is.
Can you love her for wanting to take some time to gain certainty before she comes back, would you rather she just comes back to quell your little sadness?
Of course, I want her to come back to quell my little sadness, but I was trying.
Would you rather she come back because she's inspired or because she's pitying you?
Inspired.
Okay, so how can she get inspired? Let's reverse engineer that. How can you inspire her to come back instead of pity her?
Showing her that I'm trying to get better, to trying to change, to do things.
That's one.
To do things differently, I guess.
Right. That's one. What else?
As you say, level up.
Take the time to fix yourself, work on yourself, go do things that excite you. Actively get your ass out of the house. Take your son. Go do stuff on your own that makes her go, whoa, what's going on? You're instead of making her approval your entire life. That's inspiring. What's inspiring to a woman is a man on a trajectory, a man with ambition. Probably that's what she saw in the other guy. I'm just guessing. Wise for you to ask that. Wouldn't it be wise for you to go, let me guess, is he ambitious? Is he confident? Is he all of those things? Great. So where is my confidence in orchestrating and prepping and doing stuff, orchestrating and prepping big functions?
Mm-hmm.
What would inspire her is your highest version of yourself. What is the highest version of you? Orchestrating and prepping and doing quality of cooking with big ass functions. The highest, best version of you. Can you move in that direction? What things can you do tomorrow to move in that direction?
I could see, other jobs out there, or see if there's any improvement I can actually do at my job already.
Perfect. That is activity number one. Why is that important? Because A, it's connected to your highest values. B, it's challenging you. You haven't been challenged. There's nothing inspiring about a man who's not challenging himself.
Yep.
Can you see we're doing stuff that you actually do? It's either that or kind of like mope around the house.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay?
Yep.
So we're getting you action steps. This is the last step of the overview. Is that what are we going to do to move to the highest version of you? So A, you start at work tomorrow. What am I going to do tomorrow that's going to help me move things to a greater level with everything here?
I'm ready. Yep.
Yeah, this is stuff that you can actually do. This is called empowering things, empowering activities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, action steps. I actually wrote that to her about not having goals or even planning a vacation or doing something together that takes a little bit of sacrifice to save that money to do this. And we had nothing, no goals, not a goal.
No goal to get exactly.
Nothing.
Write that down. Can you see that when you don't have goals together, it leaves you vulnerable?
Yeah, you're not striving together towards anything.
Right. What else?
Action steps.
Socially, family, things that don't involve her.
Right.
Things that don't involve her. Things that involve Jack's highest version.
Find any kind of groups I would like to join that pique my interest, whether it be
like what?
I've always liked astronomy, something of that nature.
Perfect.
Or
write that down. Great. That's a Thursday night. That's a Friday night. Whatever. So she says, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to an astronomy club." "Oh, really? Oh, okay." So for once, you're too busy for her.
Right.
Not to play a game.
Yeah.
This isn't to play a game.
No.
This is actually with or without her. This is for you. It's not a game.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm not. I understand that. I'm just not,
Yeah. This isn't a game. You get it.
Yeah,
you get what I'm
absolutely.
saying. You get my intent here.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Remember, where are you most powerful?
In a kitchen. Absolutely.
In a kitchen, leading others and teaching others, right?
Yep.
So where can you do that?
Yeah. I don't know if I have to get a different job or just do a better job at my job,
Okay. Tomorrow you can start with the second one.
Yeah.
And then while you're looking for something that makes you.
Yeah.
Because that's what's attractive. That's what she's calling you to do. Our women, this is the thing. Our women in our relationships, you're a man, I'm a man, I've been in relationships with women, I've been married, I've been divorced, been in relationships. A woman's activities are all calling on you to grow to the maximum version of you. She's actually calling on you to enter, to penetrate the world with your power.
Yeah.
So you know where your power is already. It's in a kitchen leading people and orchestrating. I want you to look at every one of her activities as pushing you to penetrate the world with your power. Because when you're doing that, a woman is drawn to a man who's doing that. Look at what you've been doing over the past 6 months. No goals, no ambition, no leveling up, just waiting for her and waiting for her approval. goddamn right she's going to find a guy who's looking to make a difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there, but because I don't know. Of course.
No. She's looking for you to do that. She wants. I know. I don't know your wife, but I know this with certainty. She wishes you would do that. She just wants, God, if only my husband would be going on with his, then I would have something to be chasing. Make her chase that. Instead of chasing her, it's wiser for you to chase the highest version of you. And when you do, trust me, they're all over the place. You got many different options, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the past when you had options.
Right. Yeah.
You got to get back there, but now with consciousness.
Right. Yeah, there was no consciousness before.
That's it. How are you feeling now?
A little bit better. Pretty good.
Great. You have some things that you can actually do that are meaningful.
Smaller goals to set for myself to where got to keep going forward.
Right. Right.
Instead of, like you said, my pity party that, I just sit on the couch and, out of no
This
reason.
This only happened weeks ago, right?
Yes.
So you're in the thick of it. You're in a depression state. So you're in mud,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And you just can't see a way out. So this session was about giving you some shift of perspective. My intention was to help dissolve some of your guilt. Did we do that?
Yes, you did. Absolutely.
Is to help you see that there are benefits to it, i.e., she now sees, according to you guys are pretty much completely empathizing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You now have a foundation for which you can actually communicate and be real and know how each other are feeling for the first time in 16 years.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity now to wake yourself up so that your son doesn't have to be as emotionally held back,
disconnected
as you have been. All of these potentials that would not have happened if this pain didn't happen.
Right.
She doesn't want to come back to a lesser version of you, nor should she.
Right.
So you did great.
Well, thank you.
We didn't get to a point of absolute gratitude, but your charge is reduced, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Can you see that there's a ton more work to do?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
The overview method really is all about getting you to see both sides of an event and to get you to heal the past stuff that are entangled in this stuff.
Right. Yeah. There's no even thought of questioning a different view of what I've already experienced that I already knew was guilt and stuff. So
this is foreign to you, isn't it?
Very. Yes.
If we started on a scale of 0 to 10, what was your level of guilt before we started?
8, 9.
And where is it now?
Probably about a 5, 6. I think it is reduced.
You done great.
It's reduced a little bit.
Great. If you keep looking, keep opening up, and keep talking to her, not as a justification, but as, listen, can I share with you what I went through when I did that stuff? Let's compare notes. Who can be that real?
Yeah, that would be real.
Can you see that if you really want to get the relationship of your dreams back, that it's going to take that kind of real talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no more sweeping it under the rug, I'll tell you that.
So how about this? How about you write a little letter explaining everything that you had felt of why at the time you made the choices that you did. Not with shame and guilt, but with actual realness, so that you can open the space for her to do the same thing.
Okay.
Without any agenda.
Right.
Without an agenda. No apologies, as Amanda says here, just facts.
Yeah. I could try. I could try that.
How about you try to, let's try this. This is your homework.
Okay.
And I'd love for you to post the results of that.
Okay.
Without any agenda. You truly have to go in with no agenda except to share your feelings. And the feelings are, I now know exactly how you feel. You can let her know it was a painful lesson, but I now know how you felt. And then let her know, I also know how you feel. And mirror what your feelings were in those times when you made those choices.
Okay.
And if you call them mistakes from your past, then you're saying what she did is a mistake, but it was just a conscious choice that she was making because she was trying to explore what her feelings were. And people go to where they're appreciated the most and they can be the most real. Don't you like to go somewhere where you're like, oh my God, I can take my mask off and be real?
Yeah.
And be appreciated for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think people do that.
So if you can do that, tell her how you felt and then have her tell you how she felt with no agenda. I hope she hugs me. I hope she tells me that we're going to get back together.
I knew what you meant by no agenda, damn it.
This is all pure love,
I
bro.
know.
You know that.
I know.
But if you do that with no agenda and then go with the flow, and when she wants to have sex, if you're feeling it, don't make a freaking story about it. Have sex. What? Do you want this? Are we going to back together or not? No. Just fuck her.
That's what's been happening. That's good.
So it's been happening. So clearly she still likes you, and it spiced things up a little, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Remember, no agenda, authentic with how you feel, and hold space for her to do the same, and bridge the gap of feelings. Oh my God, I know how you felt. This is how I felt. Feelings. Oh, this is how I felt. Tell her how you felt when you did those choices. And how proud you are of the growth that she did as a result of it. And the specific action steps you're going to do starting tomorrow that are going to get you and your son to the highest version of yourselves. Do you now feel that you have some form of forward movement?
I do. Absolutely.
Can you give yourself 30 days for that?
Yeah, I should be able to.
Yeah. Can you do a 30-day plan that has nothing to do with her specifically?
Mm-hmm.
A 30-day plan each day that moves you closer to family and leadership in the work that you do. Even if it means moving up in the work that you do now or looking somewhere else that actually gets you to live your potential.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect. My friend, you did great.
Thank you, Dr. Nima. I appreciate
For your
it.
first time in doing any self-development, you've never even seen a counselor. You've never even seen a shrink. You've never even gone to a seminar. You've never even read a personal development book.
Nope.
So I have a question. What would you tell others who are in your situation about what this kind of process is like?
Yeah, the process it just opens your eyes. I mean, that's what it does. Because when you grow up, you think the way you know is the right way and the only way, probably. And what's right and what's wrong, I don't think anybody actually knows, but opening your eyes to other ways is never a bad thing.
And can you see that we sometimes require pain to get us there, to open our eyes?
Unfortunately, I think
I wish there was a more efficient way to learn that.
I know you asked that a couple times. How else other than the pain? I have no answer.
Because it's true. I know.
Right.
Every one of my lessons have been because of pain.
Yeah.
Because when you're pleasureful, you're coasting.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who's paying attention and listening who has something that they would love to tell Jack? Is there anybody who wants to drop in and say anything? Or if not, is there anything that you would like to say?
No. Thanks everybody for, watching. I hope Dr. Nima helped you as much as he's helping me. I think he's going to work. I think he's going to help a lot. He already has. So that's what I'd like to say.
Beautiful. Yeah. So this is basically a wake-up call.
It is.
Isn't it?
It is. Hey, thanks, Amanda. I like that one.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Your wife is a lucky woman.
Well, she's loved.
She is loved. She wants the best version of you. That's actually, she wants to come back to the, I promise you, she wants to come back to you, but not the watered down version.
Yeah. I agree.
And your son deserves the highest version of you too. The one who's in touch with himself and is able to share his feelings and communicate.
Yep. I agree.
We are definitely going to be in touch. And I want to see that 30-day plan of all of the things in all areas of your life that don't have to do with her.
Right. I get that. Gotcha.
Stay involved in the group and share your stories. And we're all here for you, my friend. Thank you and welcome to the family.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nima.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Peace out.
So, interestingly enough, that was one of that's the challenge when you have Jack, who was he not like the greatest guy, teddy bear? You can't help but absolutely love a guy who's willing to get real. Common to see the resistance, hardwired. When someone is hardwired with guilt, did you see how difficult it was for us to get him to see the other side of it? It takes work. It takes repetition. It takes neuroplasticity of repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. But eventually those beliefs weaken, our eyes open, and we then start to see things not for what we think they should be, but for what they actually are. And infidelity, from my experience in my own life and in working with others, is it's either way out or a way back in. And but every time, it's a call to level up. And you either level up or you downward spiral, and the choice is up to you. And I just love teaching people these tools and taking people through this painful but extremely liberating process. I don't know if you guys got to see, but Jack's posture, the way that he was sitting, his facial expression really changed. When you are, FYI, when you're in the thick of a problem, a divorce, a breakup, or whatever, doing one overview session doesn't clear it all. Okay? It doesn't clear everything. It just gets you to see another perspective and change your perception and move up and move up. And this work is never done. The work of expanding your consciousness is never done. It's all entirely up to you. When you put in the work, there's nothing more fulfilling. This is very fulfilling work for me. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a chiropractor. I work more like a friend, asking specific questions that help you balance out perception and to see how things served, how things are on the way, not in the way. And as you saw today, Jack left seeing that this was actually on the way to his highest version, and he wouldn't be able to get there without this pain. He's still in pain, and he should be still in pain. But it was great to see him transform his view a little bit. Not bad for his first time, and I just want to acknowledge that. So make sure you join the Overview Method discussion group. If you're interested in a home study program, definitely join the Overview Method discussion group on Facebook and find out and get on it and learn how to master this tool so that you can turn and ask yourself these questions to help you get to the highest version of yourself. Thank you guys all, and I will see you all at the next perfect time.